This tutorial is all about piping ruffles. I just purchased 7 new piping tips on Amazon, so we are going to try them out together and see how it goes. For this tutorial, I am using my Swiss meringue buttercream recipe. I'm going to link the 7 piping tips in the description box below as well, and also my favorite piping bags. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel before we get to the video, and let's get to piping. For this tutorial, I've got about a batch and a half of my Swiss meringue buttercream. I also have a bunch of disposable piping bags, the 7 piping tips, of course, and then just a couple of spatulas. I colored all of my buttercreams with 3 different color milk colors. I tried to get a gradient between baby blue and baby pink, but the baby blue was quite a bit more green than I had anticipated, so it just turned gray in the middle. What I did was add a little bit of purple to the middle color, and then I added even a smaller amount to the 2 colors right beside it. So now we have a nice gradient between like a kind of aqua greenish blue all the way to pink. I'm going to show you 2 methods to fill your piping bag. Since I don't think I've done this before, maybe in my basic piping tutorial, but it's a good refresher. What I like to do in order to fill it is get my piping tip and put it all the way to the bottom of the bag. Then I can see exactly how far I want to cut it. So you can see where the design ends on the piping tip, and then just put your finger there. Kind of press the piping tip back into the bag and then snip at that spot. You can always snip a little bit more if you need to, so start off with just a bit and that will work great. So we can see the entire design on the piping tip, but it's not going to fall out of the piping bag. So your first method for filling your bag, this is the beginner way. You can put your piping bag into a cup, fold over the edges, and just kind of open up the bag here. So I have piping tip number 1. We're going to start with pink and then go all the way to the aqua at number 7. So I'm just going to fill this up. And usually I recommend not filling your piping bag up more than halfway full. Just makes it a lot easier to pipe with. You can always add more buttercream or royal icing later. Just giving this a quick whip to try and get rid of any extra bubbles. What you can also do if you have too many bubbles is just pop that in the microwave. So I have a nice amount of buttercream here, and I'm just going to scrape it on the side right into the bag like that. This is good because you have both hands still to work with, and you can scrape out all of your buttercream. So then all you have to do is flip the bag back over, and you've got a nice filled bag with buttercream. The second method is for slightly more advanced pipers, just if you're a little bit more comfortable. So let's do the same cutting of the bag. What might be a bit easier for these tips is if you don't need to use so many colors, just use a coupler and then you can fit in each of the tips as you go. Perfect. You can see, and you always want to push that right to the end so it's not going to move anywhere. This is the more advanced version, so we're just folding that over onto our hand. So I'm just holding my hand kind of like a cup. And I have a nice space here in order to add the buttercream. So I'll just take my buttercream, the next color up, and hold that in place. And then you can just hold the buttercream and the spatula and scrape it off using your kind of cupped fingers. So I've got that bit. Let's grab the rest of this and then just repeat that. And push your buttercream to the bottom. And there you go, all ready. So I'm gonna prep the rest of these and then we're gonna get to piping. I've got piping tip number 1 here, which is what I'm calling it because there are no numbers on these ones. I've given it a quick try already, and this one doesn't seem to be so great, but I'll show you exactly what it looks like. So these ones are a little different. You have to put them on their side to make the ruffles. So I'm just gonna give it a good press, and then so it makes kind of a weird ruffle, this one. Maybe it would be good for a border or something, but I'm gonna do it this way as well so you can see what it looks like. Maybe if we did a wiggle. But I think the problem is this little slit is a bit too small. The next size up, you'll see, is a lot better. All right, so here is the next one we're testing. This is number 2, and this one definitely makes a much nicer ruffle than the first one. Again, I'm gonna put that on its side and give it some pressure and just allow the ruffle to come out, just keeping as even pressure as I can. And this one looks much better than the first. So this one would be perfect for the top edge of a cake, or even if you wanted to do layers of ruffles coming down, it would be gorgeous. This is the third piping tip, and this one has almost a folded area, so it looks almost like there's a ruffle of fabric and then it's been kind of cuffed on itself. So I will try that one out next. So I'm going to keep even pressure again. I'm trying to keep the top layer as even as possible, and then just allowing the ruffle to come out, which seems to be working well for this one. So 2 really nice ruffle options here from this Amazon set so far. Number 4, this is the kind of thin squiggly line. This is another nice ruffle option. So I'll do the same thing, have it on its side and just allow that ruffle to come out. This one is a slightly different one because it doesn't have that top bit, but it would be great for layering on top of itself. If you wanted to do another layer on top of it like this, there isn't a lot of bulk underneath, so I think it would be perfect for that. A gorgeous option. Number 5 here is kind of a fatter version of this one. We'll see how it goes. It wasn't great when I tested it quickly, but so far so good, I think. 3 out of 7 for a kind of cheap Amazon set, I think is really great. So this one's like a really chunky ruffle. I don't hate it. It's just a specific look. If you need a really chunky border, that one looks nice. On to number 6. Also, if you guys know how to use this one, tell me. I don't know if I used it incorrectly. And yeah, we're on to number 6. This one's kind of more like a many layers in a ruffle. Like, I don't even know what to say, pleated almost. So this one I think could be opened up a little bit at the top because there's not much buttercream coming out there. But if I add more pressure, we can at least get some nice ruffles. They're not super even like the other ones, but I think this one would have its place as well. Maybe if I moved it a little bit faster. finally, number 7, we've got this more flat ruffle tip, and this one I was testing and it looks like it's for maybe like the side of a cake, maybe like a top or a bottom border. I'm not actually sure. If you know, let me know in the comments. But the way that it comes out is like this. So it's kind of ruffly on the sides. I don't know. What would you guys use this for? I think it could look pretty as a border, like a pretty thick border. If you wanted to have a really nice, like thick piped cake, I think this one could work for sure. So I'm gonna show you guys my 4 favorite ones, which are these 4 right in the middle here. I'll do one more layer just so you can see from a top view. So I'm gonna layer it on just like I would on a cake. So I just put it above it like this. And just allow those ruffles with a really even pressure to come down. I'll do one more layer since we have some space. It's really important to have a buttercream that's smooth when you do this, otherwise it is going to be a nightmare with all the bubbles in there. All right, next we're gonna do the one with the little pleat at the bottom, or the little cuff. So I have my piping bag at a 45-degree angle with the tip touching the base, whatever you're using, a cake or a piece of parchment paper, or just practicing on your table. So this one gives you like a much fuller ruffle at the bottom. Let's try one more. So it just takes a bit of time to get used to these, but I think they are going to be gorgeous on some cakes. You can definitely incorporate these borders into either a royal icing cake or a piped buttercream cake. So I've got the thin squiggly one now. This one I think is the easiest to use. Just kind of comes out and does a really nice ruffle without any effort. And finally, we've got the nice chunky ruffle here. This one uses a lot more buttercream for sure. With this one, I found you can't have it facing too far downwards or too close to the cake, I guess. Otherwise, it's gonna just give you like a flat area. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to use these ruffle tips. These are my first ever ruffle tips, so it was kind of fun experimenting with them, and I can definitely see myself incorporating some of these into my cakes in the future, both with buttercream and royal icing. Let me know if you are thinking of getting any ruffle tips as well. I would love to hear your thoughts or how you would use them. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you want to see more kind of review videos like this. It was fun. All right, I'll see you next time.